Section 6, guys. Why doesn't the coronavirus affect everyone equally? Does it affect equally? Remember that we did the KWL. There was a question like that. It says, do you think it affects everybody equally? And many people said no. I read many. The ones that did it, I read them, and they mostly people said no. In a way that it affects elderly people more or already sick people. But let's read the first article. Let's read the first article. And the question is, what was the main message of the article? So we have to write what was the main, just one sentence enough. Complete sentence, please. Don't just write, it's bad. I'm gonna take off points, guys. So don't just write complete sentences, please. High school. All right, guys, so number one. Children can get severe COVID-19. CDC says especially Black and Hispanic children. Black and Hispanic children, why? Let's keep reading. I haven't read it either, guys, so I'm gonna learn with you guys. While most children who catch the coronavirus have either no symptoms or mild ones, they are still at risk of developing severe symptoms requiring admission to the intensive care unit. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention says a new report, okay? And Hispanic and Black children in particular were much more likely to require hospitalization for COVID-19, with Hispanic children about 8 times as likely as white children to be hospitalized. So Hispanic children, that's Salvador, Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, all those areas, okay? Spain, that's Hispanic people, okay? And if I missed one, you guys know the drill, right? Children about 8 times as likely white children to be hospitalized, while Black children are 5 times as likely. So white children are not as hospitalized as Black children, 5 times more, and 8 times more for Hispanic children. So do you guys think it's because of insurance, they have less resources? Or what do you guys think it is? So I've heard a lot of rumors about conspiracies that the government made this virus. I don't know. Why would they do that? But you never know. That just compares this conspiracies, guys. So not proven. Despite persistent rumors that children are almost immune from the virus, the analysis of 576 children hospitalized for the virus across 14 states found that 1 out of 3 was admitted at ICU, similar to the rate amongst adults. So they're saying that children are less likely to show symptoms. They're more asymptomatic. Their stronger immune system can fight it easier, and it'll go away fast. Okay. Almost 1 in 5 of those were infants, younger than 3 months. Wow. Babies have coronavirus, guys. COVID-19. The most common symptoms include fever, chills, inability to eat, nausea, and vomiting. The finding comes as school districts across the country are figuring out how to educate the nation's children while still protecting the kids, teachers, and family members from the ravage of virus. So did you guys know some elementaries here in Compton district are opening? The children are gonna go 2 times a week to school. I don't know. I don't think that's a great idea. We will see. I think it's too soon still. It's too soon right now. The American Federation of Teachers has said it considers in-person schooling to be safe only when fewer than 5% of coronavirus tests in an area are positive. 5% of coronavirus tests in the area are positive. It just takes 1% to infect a lot of people. It just takes 1%. One person, it just takes one cough in the class, makes a cloud of germs. And if some kid is not putting their mask correctly, because if you put it under your nose, you're gonna get all that germs in your nose. People put their mask under their nose. Okay. Researchers don't fully understand why some racial groups are hospitalized at higher rates than others. Uh, so this article, I'm not skimming through it because it's very interesting and I want to know information too. But the CDC's findings are consistent with other studies. The authors of the report said, citing a recent analysis from the, okay, it has been hypothesized that Hispanic adults might be at increased risk for SARS-CoV-2 infections because they are overrepresented in frontline, essential and direct service. Ah, so they are workers. They are Hispanic people are your gardeners, your waiters. They're just doing service. So maybe that's the reason. Their circumstances, they're more surrounded by people with COVID-19 and will get infected faster. How about factory workers? Okay, so I know many students. I've worked in factories, so there's no shame. Many parents work in factories, and it's just a lot of people in a conveyor belt or something with the boxes and shipping. So you're around more people. So maybe that's the reason. Okay. And I've worked in factories, so I know how close we can be. Uh, just shifting things, moving boxes around, you know? So maybe that's the reason. Their circumstances, their work related. Okay. Underlying medical conditions might have contributed to the children's hospitalization. Researchers wrote, nothing that Hispanic and Black children are more likely to suffer from conditions like obesity. Nothing that Hispanic and Black children are more likely to suffer. Okay. If there's any good news, it's that even among children hospitalized with severe COVID-19 complications, the fertility rate remains low, researchers said. So not a lot of people they get COVID-19, but children don't really die, they survive it, okay? We have a stronger immune system. A separate study of journal, okay, ultimately the CDC concludes in crucial to continue preventing efforts wherever children gather, especially citing schools, childcare centers. So we need to be careful with gatherings like schools and care centers. Elementary schools are opening, not a good idea. Kids like to play, they like to hug, they like to, you know, wrestle and play in the jungle gym. And it's not a great idea. Okay, so we read most of the article. Let's write a sentence. Let's see. Let's just skim again through to refresh my mind. What was it about? So they're saying that Blacks and Hispanic children are more likely to get COVID-19 severe, and reasons are because perhaps the parents work in environments with more people. Okay, what else did they say? That's it. While most children catch coronavirus, and so yeah, that's all it talks about. They're talking the numbers, so we can write the numbers down. Hispanics are more 8% or 7%. How much was it? 8 times. African Americans are 5 times than white. Okay, so we can write that down. Let's write that down. There it goes. So it was about The article states that Hispanic and Black children are more likely to have severe COVID-19. Why? And let's write details. Hispanics are 8 times, wait, was it 8 or 7? 8 times, yes. Hispanics are 8 times, let's write 8 times more likely to have COVID-19, and Black are 5 times more likely than white children. Reasons maybe, we don't want to say it is. Reasons may be that parents work in very social areas. Is that, how would you say it? Very, come on guys, help me out. Social areas. Does that sound good? Okay, I'm auto-correcting. The article states that Hispanic and Black children are more likely to have severe COVID-19. Hispanics are 8 times more likely to have COVID-19, comma, Black children, Hispanic children, comma, Black children are 5 times more likely than white children. Wait, I should have left what and. Hispanic children are 8 times more likely to have COVID-19, and Black children are 5 times more likely than white children. Okay, yeah, we should leave and. And Black children are 4 times more likely than white children. The reasons may be that parents work in very social areas. Simple, that's just the main message of the article. You can write your own message, that's my example. Let's move on. So, number two. CDC studies finds Hispanics hit disproportionately hard by workplace outbreak. So look, workplace, areas. What does CDC stand for? I've been reading that, but I need to search what CDC stands for. Not even I know. So it's Center of Disease Control. Center of Disease Control. Okay. That's what it stands. Center of Disease Control. Study finds Hispanics hits disproportionately hard by workplace outbreak. So Hispanics are overpopulated in California than other races. Maybe that's also a reason. Okay, let's start. A Center for Disease Controls and Prevention study, okay. The study looks at COVID-19 cases associated with workplace outbreak in certain industries in Utah between March and June. So they're talking about Utah right now, okay? It found that Hispanic and non-white workers made up 73% of those cases, despite representing just 24% of the workforce in sectors where outbreaks occurred. Systematic social inequities. Inequities, that means like it's not equal, like, okay, have resulted in the over-representation in Hispanic and non-white workers in frontline occupations where exposure to SARS-CoV-2, that's another word for COVID-19, might be higher. So in the workforce, and is needed to, okay, spread coronavirus among population over represented in these sectors. Health officials define workplace outbreak as 2 or more lab confirmed COVID-19 cases occurring within the same 2-week periods among workers in hard space. Okay, so you guys see that I'm not skimming through this information. It's very interesting. I want to learn too. Okay, I usually skim, but this is pretty interesting. 76% were workplaces between March 5, June 6. Workplace outbreak occurred in 15 industry sectors in Utah. They're talking about Utah. From agriculture to educational services to transportation. Okay, so California, there's more Latinos and Hispanics in California than Utah. So the numbers might be higher in California. Okay. A majority of those outbreaks, 58%, were in 3 sectors: manufacturing, wholesale trade, and construction. So that's workforce, guys. And the major of these outbreaks, 58%, were in 3 sectors: manufacturing, like factories, wholesale trade, and construction. Okay. So, all right. So let's skim through it now. Now that we have like the main information, what we're looking for. But they accounted for nearly 3 quarters of COVID-19 cases associated with workplace outbreak. Hispanics make up greater share of confirmed coronavirus cases than their share of population in much of the country. I didn't know that. Hispanics are more likely. And they're saying it's the environment, the workplace that they're, such as construction, wholesale manufacturing. Hispanics and non-white workers also have less flexibility work schedule and fewer options to telework compared with the white workers, researchers added. All right. So work is what you call inequitable. That means some people may get more breaks. They may have more protection, like in an office, instead of Hispanics. Or non-whites are other races, such as Asian, African Americans. Okay, so that's non-white. The lack of flexibility, especially when combined with unpaid or punitive sick leave policies. So sick leave, it's harder for, they're saying that these in the areas where Hispanics and non-whites work, there is less sick leave policies. Like we have less paid sick leave. Okay. Like if you get sick, you can't be home. You have to come work because you need money and you have to pay those bills, you know? So, yeah. So as a sub, I don't get sick leave either. After I have to work like 90 days in order to, but subs don't really work that much. I'm a different, so I took over your class, so I will be until the end of the school year. So I'm different, but other subs, you know. And teachers, they get sick leave, so whenever they get sick, they can stay home. Okay, so usually, so this article talks about workforce. Where was that sentence? I lost the sentence. I lost it. Oh, here it is. 58%, the majority of those outbreaks. Agriculture, educational services to transportation. Okay, so let's write something down. All right, so let's see. Hispanics I want to get that sentence to start it off with that sentence. Here it is. No. Oh, I lost the sentence again. Really? Here it is. So the majority of outbreaks, 58%, let's write that down. The majority of outbreaks, oops, 58%, 58% are Hispanic. And the reason, capitalize, and the reason is their work environment, such as construction. What else did they say? Manufacturing, like in factories. I've worked in factories. It's pretty hard labor. Manufacturing, and what was the other thing that they said? Wholesale, like stores, wholesale. They also mentioned agriculture, educational services, transportation. Let's write that down. And even agriculture and transportation. Okay, that's good enough. Of the majority. So get Grammarly, guys. It helps you. Grammarly. I can use it in my I use Grammarly. It links to my Google Docs. Okay, use Grammarly. It's free. Don't get the paid one. And I recommend Grammarly also for scholarships, guys. Scholarships. All right, number 3 is very interesting. Young people are infecting older family members in shared homes. So students are going back to school, I heard. And like I said, a kid might be asymptomatic, but what about their family members? So Latinos and other families, not just Latinos, Hispanics, we have a lot of people in our house. Just my house, there is about 10 people about, and there used to be more, but just my house. And we're like in a little area. So one person gets sick, oh, trust me, everybody's gonna get sick. That's what happened in my house, okay? All right, let's see. As the death toll escalates in coronavirus hotspots, evidence is growing that young people who work outside of home or who surged into bars and restaurants when states relax shutdown are infecting their more vulnerable elders, especially family members. I've always said this, guys. So we are healthier. We have more stronger immune system than maybe somebody that's already sick, maybe somebody that has diabetes, or they have something, or they're older. Uh, they are more likely to be affected. I've seen in the news and in social medias that like 100-year-old ladies survive, and other very strong individuals, they're the lucky ones. They live long and they survive the COVID-19. But there's not everybody is like those people, okay? Frontline caregivers, elected officials, and experts in Houston, South Florida, and elsewhere say that they are seeing patterns of hospitalization and death that confirm fears this will happen, which were first raised May, June, okay? The emerging trends highlight the difficulty relying of Trump administration's strategy of sheltering the most vulnerable while the young and healthy return to work and school. The young and healthy return to work and school. But what about the families at home? Huh. That approach runs the risk of transmitting the virus when 2 or 3 generations share the same home and when many lower income workers have little choice but to brave exposure to their job. So usually non-whites are low income. I come from a low income family, and yes, we live in a very tight home. And so we need to work. We need to pay bills. And the kids, I mean, the younger is like, oh, I'm healthy. Yeah, you're healthy, but what about your parents? What about your grandparents? Okay, so we need to be careful. And that's really not a good idea. Kids are going back to school. Okay. I'll catch attendance again at the end, guys, as I'm seeing in the chat. And yes, right now it's period 1. And I'll catch attendance at the end again, okay? Sooner or later, doctors said most older people and those with underlying health problems will mix with the young generation. So, I mean, grandparents are cooking for their children and grandchildren. Grandchildren might be sick from school, and the worst may happen. Let's hope that doesn't happen, okay? Ethnically diverse parts of the Sun Belt where caseloads are climbing fast are home to a large share of multi-generational families. Multi-generational is like grandchildren, kids, grandparents, even great-grandparents in one house, okay? About 20% of the U.S. population, a record 64 million people, about 20% of the U.S. population, live in homes with at least 2 adult generation or grandparents, grandchildren under 25 in 2016. Just 2016, guys, the number has only risen, okay? So they're saying that 20% of U.S. population, they live with grandparents, grandparents, great-grandparents. And in 2016, and that number has only skyrocketed up, okay? Oh, some pictures. This is even more true for Hispanic, who have large population in Florida. Southwest California, guys. So we can be considered Southwest. San Diego, you know. But we're lower California to, south is going down towards Mexico, west is going towards the Pacific Ocean, okay? The pandemic and its accommodations, okay? It is impossible to know how many persons acquire the coronavirus, and with community transmission rampant across the Sun Belts, more than 4.2 million people in the United States have been infected by the virus. 4.2 million people in the United States have been infected by the virus that caused COVID-19. And more than 145,000 have died. And that's only 2016. Wait. No. I'm confusing because they were talking about something else. This is now, guys. So this is now 145 since this article was written. When was this article written? Let's go check when this article was written. They don't say the date, that's why. Let's go all the way down. Usually have information all the way down. Information. Okay, well, let's just assume it's right now. All right, so I think we have enough information. Oh, a video. Let's watch a video. Let's watch a video, guys.
A
I'm
couple
sharing
of
stuff.
weeks ago, it seems that our oldest son, so we have 4 kids all together, my husband and I, and his older son, who is 20, he decided he wanted to go out and hang out once in a while, would lie to us. I'm wearing my mask. Don't worry, I'm social distance. It's just one person I'm seeing, you know. Or I'm going to go to the store just to pick this up. I'll be right back. Don't worry. And I begged and I pleaded, please, just don't go out. Right now, it's just not the time. God forbid any one of us catch this or get sick, especially your dad, because he's a little overweight and, you know, just not the healthiest lifestyle. So we don't even want to think. That's like
It's harder. It's harder here. It's hard to hear, but she's saying that her kid, her younger kid, wanted to go run errands for her, and this she did this video. Uh, I guess when the COVID-19 was at its peak, and she just begged, begged, and begged. That's what she's saying.
unimaginable. You know, none of that's going to happen, but, you know, do your part and don't go out. Make smart choices. Needless to say, of course, he didn't. And started feeling ill for a few days, thought it was just a cold, neglected to tell any of us. And then my other son, who is 14, who is also overweight, like his dad, unfortunately, and he started coughing and just didn't feel good, felt achy, of course. And I said, well, that's weird. And that's when the older son comes forward to dad and says, listen, I'm not sure, but I didn't tell you, but I was kind of sick for the past few days, just taking NyQuil and resting. And then I see that my brother now is not feeling good. And
Okay, so she's talking about her son. He didn't feel good. He had a little flu. He just took some NyQuil, sleeping, and he recovered. But so it doesn't mean he still didn't have COVID-19. He still had it inside him, and he transferred it to his little brother because it takes about 15 days to get rid of COVID-19 in your body. So you have to quarantine yourself. You have to be away from people.
he had heard from a friend that they had tested positive for COVID. Oh, of course, you know, we go into panic mode. I take my middle-aged teenage boy to the doctor. They check our fevers because that's really all that they're checking to allow you into a place. And none of us had fevers. And then they looked at him and they didn't see any other symptoms other than he just had like an enlarged nasal cavity or something like that, where they just thought it was an infection. So they prescribed him with amoxicillin. But something just didn't settle right, you know? So I went and looked for a local place that was doing the testing for the COVID. And myself, my 6-year-old daughter, and my teenage son went.
Okay, before she continues, so in some places, like right here, when I come to school, they check our temperature. There's a machine that checks your temperature. So that's how usually they assume if you have temperature, you have COVID-19. But most likely these kids didn't have any temperature, they're fine, but they still have COVID inside of them, COVID-19 inside of them, running through their system.
Went and got tested that day. And that was a Saturday, the day before Father's Day. Sunday morning was Father's Day. I kind of felt a little achy, but nothing too severe. I took 2 Tylenols. I sort of pushed through the day because it was Father's Day. We're trying to make Dad's Day special. That night, I think I had the chills, a little fever, but nothing crazy. I popped another 2 Tylenols. I felt better when I woke up Monday. I had a sore throat, a little cough, but again, that was the severity of my symptom at that moment. I said, wow, like we must have something very weird, right? Then Dad comes and he started with a fever on Monday afternoon through the evening. Tuesday morning he woke up and it was like 103 fever. So he could barely open his eyes, very lethargic. So I drove him to a test site and we got him tested. I spoke to like friends who were nurses and they said, listen, if it's just a fever that he's showing, just keep him home. Try to treat the fever. Keep giving him the Tylenol and stuff. A couple days go by and finally at that point, after 4 days of having the fever, he could barely like get off the couch or move, you know. It wasn't really like even the medication wasn't keeping the fever down. It was barely breaking it. So he was coughing a little bit and then I got really nervous and I said,
So she's saying that some her husband, I believe, uh, they they get more severe symptoms than other people. Like they're asymptomatic.
We're going to the hospital. I'm not taking a chance. This isn't good. Things just sort of were happening so fast, and he was on a mask and high flow, like 100%, and this is what he was doing, like trying to breathe and talk to me at the same time. It was really scary. It all happens so fast, so you just don't know what to do or how to help the person. You're not allowed into the room with them because I'm COVID, he's COVID. So yes, all of our family members were positive for COVID.
So all of our family members were positive. And to answer your question, Moises, when you can sneeze, cough, anything will transfer COVID-19. And also, yes, you can sneeze, like I said, and even just talking can transfer COVID-19. So anything.
When we did get the results back. So my husband is 42 years old, and he was admitted to the ICU, and he then the next day, due to progressing numbers maybe through the oxygen flowing through the blood and all of that in the body, they decided it was time to put him on a ventilator. It's been hard. I'm here at home. We can't leave the house. We can't see him. We can't be with him. We've been able to FaceTime a few times, but again, it's hard.
Okay, so she's saying that, like I said, and she said that her husband, he got really sick, really, really sick. Like he needed a machine to breathe, but yet she and her children were fine. So that's what the article's about, that some people will get the COVID-19, that it will hit them hard compared to others, especially the elderly, or somebody that has already a sickness. Okay. So let's write that down. Young people are infected, older family members in shared homes. So first of all, let's talk about that. Okay. The article talked about, what they talked about, guys? Hispanics and non-whites, capitalized letter. Hispanic and non-whites. Wait. Share homes. No. Are more likely to share homes with, what was the word called? Multi-generational? I think that's what it was. Multi-generational family members. That means they live with grandparents and great grandparents. Usually Hispanics, I don't from what I understand, we don't really take our family members to like convalescent homes or for the elderly. Okay, we keep them with us. We take care of our family, and yeah. What else did they talk about? Okay, so let's talk about that. The younger generation will work and may receive COVID-19. No, may get COVID-19, may get sick. The younger generation will work and may, come on guys, help me out. I'll just put get COVID-19. I'll switch it later. COVID-19 and can transfer it to other family members in the same home. And let's talk about that. Some people will get it, will hit it hard. How will I say? They will be more severe. For some people in the family, COVID-19 will be more severe than others, such as the children. So what did I write? The article talked about Hispanics and non-whites are more likely to share home with multi-generational family members. The young generation will work and may get COVID-19 and can transfer it to other family members in the same home. For some people in the family, COVID-19 will be more severe than others, such as children. Such as children. Let's just take the word out. Such as children. Others such as children. Okay. So write something similar. I want you guys to learn something, okay? So that's why I'm doing it with you guys. So as an example, you can write something similar. Okay, number 4. 2 more and we're done. 2 more and we're done. And I'll do attendance at the end later, okay? That article. Let's close this one, this one, this one. All right, let's read this one. The COVID racial data tracker. COVID-19 is affecting Black, Indigenous, Latinx, and other people of color the most. Latinx, that means that's like gender neutral. Like there's Latino and Latina. So instead of saying both Latinos and Latinas, because if you just say Latinos, what about Latinas? So now they do Latinx, okay? Just little information there. So you know what Latinx is. That's like the proper word now. Okay. The COVID Racial Data Tracker is a collaborating between the COVID Tracking Project and the Boston University Center of Anti-Racist Research. Together, we're gathering most complete, up-to-date. Okay, that's just information. Okay, oh, chart. Nationwide, Black people have died at 1.4 times the rate of white people. Okay, so we've been talking about a lot of Latinx, Hispanic people, but now let's talk about Black. Okay. Deaths per 100 people by race or ethnicity through March 17, 2021. Okay. So March 7, 2021. So just a couple days ago, this is new. So they all have COVID-19, all these people, Black African Americans, every race gets it, even whites. But unfortunately, Black or African American are more likely to, die. And what do you guys think it is? Maybe it's healthcare, maybe it's lack of knowledge of healthcare, So let's see what the article talks about. We've lost at least 73,462 Black lives to COVID-19 to date. Black people account for 50% of COVID-19 deaths where race is known. Wow, I didn't know that. I did not know that. We've asked every state to report complete race and ethnicity data. Our racial data dashboard has the latest. All right, tracking inequities at the country level. Inequities. So equality is like So let me explain inequity, the word inequity. Equality is like everybody gets a medium t-shirt. Everybody. You only get a medium t-shirt. Doesn't matter if you're big, you're small, you're tiny. That's equality. You all get a medium t-shirt. That's it. Medium. Medium black t-shirt. Equity is everybody gets a t-shirt, but their size. So if you're small, you get a t-shirt, you get a large, your t-shirt, you get an XL if you're a tall person, that's equity, okay? Equality is everybody gets the same thing, the same treatment, and equity is everybody gets the treatment they need, okay? That's the treatment they need, okay? So that's just a little English little lesson right there, okay? Equity and equality. Equity and equality. Equality. But inequity is when not everybody is treated equally. Okay? They're not getting the correct treatment. Tracking inequity at the county level. State level statistics tell a part of the story, but many US states are also deeply segregated, meaning different counties in the same state can have vastly different breakdowns by race and ethnicity. Race and ethnicity data for COVID-19 cases isn't widely available at the country level. So we're using two numbers. We do have, okay, that's just some information. Okay. Deaths per 100,000. So 178,000 per 100,000. So if there's 300,000 deaths, there will be 3 times this number. Okay, that's how you read it. Okay, so Asians get the least sickness, other white, Native Hawaiians, Pacific Islanders, Hispanic Latinos, American Indians or Alaska Natives. Okay. And you guys also have to think about the amount of people. So for example, Hispanics, there's a lot of Hispanics. So I'm just throwing a random guess out there, but we make 90%, 80% of the school. So pretty high numbers. Okay. All right, let's write something down. Let's write something down. So what are they saying? Control B. So they're saying that, let's just write that down. Okay, so they're saying that Black population has had more deaths than other race in the country. Black Lives Matter, guys. Black Lives Matter. And perhaps is medical inequities in like medical treatments. You know, it's the sad truth, but okay, number 5, last one, guys, last one. The coronavirus class divide, the space and privacy. Come on, last one. Last one. All right, let's see. The coronavirus class divide, space and privacy. Oh, here it goes again. No thanks. Shelter in place is a dictate that assumes the existence of shelter, the safe, stable, controlled environment that poor people often lack. So we Compton guys, there's Hispanics, African Americans, Black, uh, even Samoans. So they're saying that our lack of resources, our lack of crowded spaces, lack of healthcare, money can be a pretty big issue in for COVID-19. Okay. Okay, Mark's seen via Zoom in the space where he sleeps. He can't be fit 6 feet apart when you have to rely on other people's space. Yep. If you live in a very crowded space, maybe you share rooms. It's very hard to be 6 feet apart. Just one cough. So all it takes to create a cloud of germs. Okay, a sneeze. Achoo. Cover your mouth, please. Cover your mouth, guys, with your sleeve. Okay. So let's see. Washington. There are corners of America where social distancing is practiced with care, but the House of Robesonia that Mark Stroke shares with 10 people is not among them. So like I said, guys, a lot of us share houses with more than 10 people, and grandparents, parents, children, cousins, okay? Housemates comes and go to job in fast food and chocolate factories, sharing a single shower. Yep. Dirty dishes crowd the kitchen that no one cleans. In my house we have a rule: you eat, you wash the dish. That's our rule. So every time I eat, I make sure to wash that dish because too many people are in my house. If everybody just stacks it up, whoever does the dishes is gonna have a big pile, and that's not fair. So we each wash our own dish whenever we eat. All right, let's continue. No stranger to hardship. Mr. Strokes, who spent part of high school living in a car, worries that the crowded conditions will expose him to coronavirus. But like many poor Americans, he says that sanctioned solution. 6 feet of physical space is a luxury he cannot afford. So some of us, so I used to share a room with 3 people just recently. And so I was at risk of getting COVID-19 like he had. Okay, but after COVID-19, we made some arrangements, and now I have my own room. Okay. So it's just so many people in the house, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's not my house, he said. I feel the same way. He said in a voice rising distress. You can't be 6 feet apart when you have to rely on other people's space. That's many of us are like that, guys. Many of us. Okay. With the pandemic exposing and compounding inequality in matters large and small, access to private controllable space has emerged as new class divide. More valuable than ever to those who have it and potentially fatal to those who do not. So a lot of us have to share rooms with our brothers, sisters, cousins, and that's normal for us in Compton and other places around the country, cities, not just Compton, but that's our normal. Okay, and we're used to it. Okay, we're used to it. We are family people, and we're used to that. Okay, so if you're not used to it, well, and you know, it's pretty hard if you're not used to people, yet you have to be like that, living in those conditions. So I'm not really a people person. I admit it. I'm not really a people person. I'm pretty socially awkward. Uh, I'd rather be by myself, doing my own things. And I live in a crowded house, so I have to, respect them and do my own chores. And as soon as I, get my career, I will move out. That's my plan. That's my plan, guys. As soon as I get my career, I move out. Okay. So let's see. I think that's enough information. All right. So let's see. What was the main message of the article, guys? What was the main message? Let's skim around, go back. So they're talking about Control B. Many people can't afford the luxury of being 6 feet apart because they live in a packed home with just details. I'm just throwing details out. No, we don't have to say that. I was gonna say like with brothers, sisters, cousins. Many people can't afford the luxury of being 6 feet apart because they live in a packed home. Especially low income, especially the low income community. Okay. So we can write some more, get some more details, but I think that's the main point of the article. Okay. The main part of the article. And you can say something like, if you live in a packed home, you know, do your chores. I still wear my mask at home when somebody's sick, even though like it's not disrespectful. It's just, you know, trying to protect myself. Okay. So let's do attendance, guys. Let's do attendance.